everybody. This is Jeff Veale, the business guru, coming to you from downtown Manila. If I look tired, well, it's 5 a.m. in the morning, not for my guests, for me. And here I am. I've got a wonderful gentleman today. We've had a chat longer than the 15 minutes about life and his pet subject here. His name is Richard A. Schreiber. And Richard is a founder, and the company name is RAS Consulting, LLC, or Autism Innovation Community Foundation. And the industry is a combination of IT and AI, Autism Advocacy. Been in the industry, guys, for over 40 years. He's a very fascinating gentleman. He's going to tell you a bit more about that in a moment. His brief description of his business: he helps small business owners get back their valuable time and save money through AI and agentic automation solutions. Helps parents navigate the complicated world of autism services. And that it must be a very complicated world.
Yes.
Key achievements of a project: served the masters of the universe for 15 years on Wall Street and AM Law top 100 firms. 6 times best-selling author, 4 of his own, and on AI and autism. Really interesting subject. Personal motto philosophy: take a faith-based approach in life, spread a little kindness, and be tolerant along the way for being of services. And I say, guys, it costs nothing to give people a smile, but you can change you can change people's day with a bloody smile. Amazing. Interesting fact about himself: I write iterational romance and crime novels. It's a nice little hobby to have. It's my great pleasure to welcome to the stage Richard. How are you, my friend?
I am wonderful today, Jeff. Thank you for that wonderful and very kind introduction. I hope
problem.
to
you know where to send my bottle of scotch. Don't forget. Just kidding. Tell us about your journey and what inspired you to. Well, and I know the story. What inspires you to pursue your current career path? Tell us the background behind all this.
Well, I kind of got into IT like 40 years ago by accident, and among the baby boomer generation, that's probably a pretty common thing. I took a statistics course in college and was just good with numbers. Here in the States, I was able to memorize this baseball statistics on the back of bubblegum cards as a kid growing up. So I had a little bit of an aptitude for that. And then starting out in business, we needed a data processing system to track transactions and bill them. So there wasn't a system like it. So I just kind of went around and saw whatever I could and kind of through my own myself, put together the best of the best. I remember the first user interfaces I created on a yellow scratch pad and worked with a developer to create them, and did that for first 30 odd years of my career. Of course, going on to more practical tools and whatnot. But I found, and I've always been someone who has been a service conscious person. So I just like building software systems that actually created, good solutions for clients and save them money and help make their businesses better.
And you combine that with autism. Where did that part come into the equation? Tell us about that.
Yeah, that kind of came later. For the first, I'd say 25, 30 years of my career, I had a very successful consulting practice, both in software and then a little bit later, in working for legal tech, in the legal tech space, and supporting law firms with business process outsourcing solutions and helping them do with their contract negotiations. So, I had a very, very good career. And then kind of at the same time where things started to change, a lot of disruption in the markets where my clients were, and found myself in 2014 at the age of, what was I, 56, struggling to find work. And that was around the same time my daughter was diagnosed with autism. And it was an interesting thing. My wife and I didn't know what it was. Our only reference point was kind of like the Dustin Hoffman character in the Tom Cruise movie, Rain Man. That people with autism were math savants who would walk around talking to themselves and be able to do math problems.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Very stereotyped. Yeah.
Yeah. And, but, this was 10, 12 years ago. So autism was really not well known.
Yes.
So, like most parents, we kind of got drawn into what pediatricians, people in healthcare or schools,
Sure. You got dragged
kind
through
of
the system, my friend.
directed us. And unfortunately, it turned out to be very harmful, ironically, to our daughter, the mainstream services.
Yeah.
And, we had a watershed moment where it just became crystal clear to me as a father. I call it a 2x4 over the head moment, where
I love that.
yeah, where I realized I needed to do more for my daughter. I needed to become
Nice.
ultimately her fierce advocate.
Yeah, love it all.
And,
Love that journey.
and I did. My wife and I, we pivoted away from mainstream solutions to more holistic and homeopathic
Yeah.
solutions, tech-oriented
What I call
solutions.
common sense solutions.
Yeah, I mean, in this country, in America and maybe other countries too, there's this predilection with throw a pharmaceutical at it. It's the the poison pill, whatever you want to call it.
You come back next week. Next.
Yeah, but they all have side effects, and certainly in that case, the side effects that my daughter was experiencing were horrific. She was emaciated and stupefied, and for someone on the autism spectrum who may struggle with, being able to socialize or pick up social cues, being drugged on top of that makes it a double whammy, and that's the space my daughter was in.
Tell me, what's been the most challenging aspect of that and your work, and how have you overcome that over all these years?
I think initially it was a lot about knowing that I was a dad. I think that I checked all the boxes. I provided for my family. I thought I was doing what was necessary for my daughter.
Yes.
Found out that I wasn't. So, but I think the most important thing about the experience in becoming that advocate for my daughter was it really gave me a greater sense of purpose than I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
And not only did it lead me to help my daughter, but it also made me recognize with my wife that perhaps other families
need help.
We could help. Yeah, they needed help, and perhaps we could, in sharing our story,
start a movement,
help them not make some of the same mistakes.
Lovely.
And
great story. Tell us about an important moment, apart from that, but in your actual career that changed your direction. Like, where did you decide to pivot?
Yeah, well, after, again, I mentioned that my two businesses kind of came to a halt. And for, a couple of year period, I kind of took some contract work. Then I got into the public sector, which was interesting because I really gained a real affinity and appreciation for government workers. They have far less provisions, far less money, far more antiquated tools, but they're very dedicated.
Yes.
And they really are truly people that represent what service is all about. So creating solutions that help them was very gratifying in contrast to helping corporate America, which I did previously. And then about 3 years ago, the world changed when ChatGPT 2.0 came out.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I joined on the AI bandwagon through a very advanced mastermind group that I'm in. But I believe, as a faith-based Christian, I believe that AI should only be used in ways that are ethical, integrous, and that are compassionate, and that lead to solutions in the world without jeopardizing people's jobs and their harmony. And I've written. Thank you for mentioning it.
Work together. Yeah, work together, not against. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wrote a book called The Faith-Based Guide to AI, which became a bestseller, which is really about challenging people in AI, leaders around the world, to again use AI. And it's already being used to solve many of the world's problems. I believe it will solve global warming, cure cancer, result in extended lifespan for humans, allow us to live drug-free and
Yes.
reverse the sick care system that you mentioned that our healthcare system is. Um, so I'm excited about the advances AI can
Me
bring
too.
to those who use it in a faith-based manner. And
Yes.
I, what I'm happy to see, Jeff, is that more and more people are coming back to their roots around using AI for purpose-built reasons,
Yeah.
not just to cut jobs and the bottom line.
Interrupt you for a second. The other day I had a brainwave. I'm 77, guys, and I get a blood test every year. So I'm sitting here with my blood test, and the doctor told me, "Wow, Jeff, if I'm like you when I'm 77, I'll be so happy. Your kidneys good, your liver's good, blah blah blah. Why you go? You got a clean bill of health." And I sat on my desk for a few weeks. One day, this silly brainwave. I took a picture of it, and I put it through AI. And it said, it gave me all these different, it broke it down. It said, your kidney function should be between 100 and 120 is acceptable. You're 109, so you hit the mark, blah, blah, blah. Went down to number 9, I almost fell out of my chair. I was sitting here, not because it's 5 a.m., I was bleary-eyed with matchsticks in my eyes. I keep saying, and I thought, I'm an old guy, I should be tired, right? Anyway, what happened? Number 9 said, you should be 100, you are in fact 900. And I went, whoa, doctor never told me this one. What's this one? And what it was, very interesting, the story. It was lack of vitamin D, which made sense because I'm in front of a bloody computer 16 hours a day. So I'm not getting
you got to get sunlight, you got to get 15 minutes of sunlight periodically.
Now, 77, here I am learning all this stuff, right? And I didn't know any of this. And I thought, wow. And the other side effect was apparently brittle bones. Fast forward, 2 weeks later, I'm on a stool trying to fix an aircon. I slipped off it, broke my shoulder. So the two went hand in hand. And I thought to myself, wow, this bloody it's bloody. And I started, like, as your discoveries, I started digging more and more and more into AI. And it's a support system, guys. It's not everything, but God, it's a bloody fantastic aid if you use it right in the right manner, as Richard said earlier. Richard, in your opinion, what are the key qualities and skills that contribute to your journey and your amazing success, my friend?
I mean, first and foremost, I'm a faithful believer in Jesus. I came to that. I came home, I guess, to Christ Jesus a couple of years ago. The term "born again," but just to qualify what that means, it's really a personal journey. It has nothing to do with religion at large or churches, because I know that there's some negative connotation, I think, today in organized religion.
Yeah, of course.
But seeking Jesus was a personal decision, and frankly, it came down to I looked in the mirror about 3 years ago, and I didn't really like what I saw in the mirror staring back at me. So I felt that I had some spiritual gaps, and
nice.
Not that I don't still today. It's an everyday fight against the devil and conflict and everything else. But I think, and marrying the preacher's daughter helped a lot too. But my faith really anchors everything that I do and I come from and aspire to. And again, it's everything I do today. I try to incorporate a good, purposeful approach behind it.
You've done a wonderful job. You're leaving a legacy, Richard, in many areas. So you've done a wonderful job, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'd say, you obviously you've got empathy, and another big one for you. And Rich and I spoke for 30 minutes before this. You've got in spades. You've got integrity. That's a big one. A lot of people have not got integrity, but you've got that in spades, my friend. Tell me, how do you stay motivated and continue to innovate in your field and learn and develop new things? What's your secret there?
I think part of it, Jeff, is because I think I may have mentioned I went to journalism school, and I've always had a very curious mind. I've always had.
You're that kid at school saying why?
Exactly. Who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Yeah, love it.
So I've always had this constant desire to educate myself.
Yeah.
To become versed in what are important things that that, move life along. And of course, being an autism advocate, I had to look at I had to look at autism from a really deep and different perspective. And I think, those couple of things, of course, I've got a pretty deep toolkit of things that I've done in my life.
Yeah.
But, that's useful, but I'd like to think that my real differentiator is that I truly care about what I do. I want to leave the world a better
You
place
haven't got a
than when I
job, my
came
friend. You
into
probably
it.
hadn't had a job for a long time. You've got a passion. When you've got a passion, guys, I've got a passion. When you guys who don't have a passion wouldn't understand yet, but you'll get there.
Yeah.
When you've
And
got a
and it,
passion,
and
it's
it,
not a job; it's a passion.
and the interesting thing is, Jeff, is we talk a lot, those of us who are Christian, about God's callings.
Yes.
And the interesting thing is you don't always know where they're coming from. You can't anticipate them. And some of God's callings are not what we expect. I never expected to have, at age 47, a child that would be diagnosed when I'm, 57 years of age with autism.
Yes. Yes.
But,
Challenge.
God's calling became not only her, but other families, and now bringing understanding and bringing appreciation and respect and love and acceptance to people with autism all over the world.
Yes.
That's my calling. And
so it's
when
become
you
like
have
a giant community, Richard. Has this become like a movement in a way? Like, is it?
I believe it is.
Yes.
In spite of what we may read and hear about and all the acrimony that seems to be out there, I firmly believe that we're also seeing a resurgence of people coming together.
Yeah. And starting to say why, starting to ask questions rather than just take the pill and go away.
Yeah, I think we're responding to a lot of the division and hatred and all those things by, coming together to realize that we can do more together when we have a purpose, when we have a passion, leave all that other stuff behind. And,
That's right.
Those people who are consumed by that, sadly, will not be able to make the same kind of difference. I'm not saying I'm any better or any worse than anyone, but
I get it.
We just don't focus on that.
Going back to your work, tell us about a recent project, and of your many, Richard. Tell us one that you're particularly proud of.
Yeah, I think what I was really proud of is I mentioned I've written 4 best-selling books, and I think they've all had a common theme about, approaching things with a purpose, whether it's AI in the workforce, AI for law firms, AI for technologist. But I think I'm most proud of being able to tell my story in my bestseller, Autism Care Revolution.
Love it.
Because I think what it provides hope, and it provides, direction and confirmation for parents who, like us, are, going through some trials and tribulations. But those moments, those glimpses, when our children do things that surprise us, or that just put an amazing smile and imprint on our hearts.
Fantastic. Yeah,
those are worth more than anything.
Absolutely.
Those make it all worthwhile.
Yeah. What advice? We're going back a way now. A 20-year-old version of you comes into your life and says, "Well, I've just left uni, whatever. I'm just going to make my way in the world. What should I do?" What advice would you give them?
I would give them the basic advice to start with being who you are. Start with being yourself.
Authentic. Yeah, be authentic.
Be authentic. Yeah. Don't worry about what other people say.
That's right.
Don't necessarily be influenced, certainly by people who want you to do things that are not consistent with who you are.
Yes.
Be kind, be accepting. Realize that as a world, we have 250 odd nations. Wow. And God created all these nations so that we could live in harmony and peace and love one another, not in conflict, and certainly not in hating one another or hating someone simply because they're different in
Yes.
some way.
Yeah.
You know, it's accept people for who they are. My parents told me you're colorblind. You know, you
I love that.
respect people for who they are.
Yeah, listen to this. It's like the little kid's in the playground. Richard's a little kid. He's a white kid, and he's playing with this black kid. And people are like, "Hey, what are you doing playing with that black kid?" Well, he's not black to Richard. He's just another kid.
Exactly. And that, my parents, to their credit,
Yes,
we're, German immigrant family.
they encouraged
But
him.
they always instilled that in me, that you're no better than the guy or
Yeah,
girl next to you.
yeah, correct.
Remember that, and be kind to them, respect,
Yeah,
treat them the way they want to be treated, not the way you want to be treated. So there's a lot of very good messages from my parents, who I give a lot of credit to.
yeah. Yes, I obviously come from a lovely family, Richard. Looking ahead, Richard, what are your goals and aspirations for the future?
Yeah, again, you mentioned the term legacy. I don't look toward retirement. I think at some point, yeah, maybe I'll slow down a little bit, but I'll
Keep
get
on going.
smarter. And,
That's
and
right.
AI, I think, is going to give us. There was a story the other day where I think, I'm not sure if it was Google or some other company is advocating for a 3-day work week.
Wow,
That
wow.
they've done studies that say if you work 3 days with proper rest and diet,
Yeah,
and you can be more productive than someone who's working 5 days, 9 to 5,
yeah.
without giving themselves that space, that time, that
Well,
that ability
life's
to
so darn
regenerate.
busy. There's so much noise out there, Richard. As you'd understand,
Yeah,
there's so much noise,
yeah.
and it's getting quicker, guys. True story, guys. I've made millions of dollars, millions back in the day when all there was yellow pages and a phone. Now people can't make a decision because they've got 50 options, not one. Before it was pick up the yellow pages, pick out a
Yeah.
vendor, ring him up and buy a pair of shoes. Now, my goodness, there's just so many variables and options out there. It's mind-boggling, right?
It really is. Yeah.
And the world's a pretty confusing place these days. Um, what's the best way for people watching this podcast and learning about your mission and your good work? What's the best way to find out more about you? Where would they find out more information about you and your wonderful work? What's the best way?
Well, you can actually, I would say, check out my LinkedIn profile. It's Richard A. Schreiber. You should be able to find me pretty easily. You can see the
Yes,
spelling on the screen.
yes.
Um, my Autism Foundation. Unfortunately, our website is down right now, but it's the Autism Community Innovation Foundation. I also have the NYC Autism Community, the local community group we founded, and my business, which is res-consulting.com.
Follow through the ways
Please
there, guys.
drop
And
me a line.
don't forget, guys, with this wonderful podcast, we'll be putting, when it's all done, we'll turn this into a little mini movie, and we'll be putting Richard across Reddit, Quora, LinkedIn, Facebook, our business group of 6,500 members, and of course, YouTube with all of his social media links. He's always up for a chat, particularly if you've got questions about the autism space. Richard's always up for a chat, cup of coffee, costs you nothing, guys. Reach out. Get the help's there. Reach out, guys. The offer's there by Richard. Reach out, and if you've got a challenge, reach out and discuss with Richard. He's a pretty open-minded guy, and learn more. Learn more, guys. It's the way to
I
go
would
forward.
welcome that.
Yeah, Richard. Before we wrap it up, tell us a fun fact about yourself that most people don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we talk a
You
lot.
weren't always a nerd. Tell me, go back a bit. Tell us
No, I don't really consider myself a nerd because I was a liberal arts major, and again, I have a degree in journalism. I was a
Love it.
decent athlete, but I think to countermand my fears, about 3 or 4 years ago, I
Yeah.
jumped out of an airplane at 14,000 feet
Wow.
over Oceanside, California, and that was an incredible experience. It was incredibly conflicting,
Yeah.
exhilarating, and shook me to my core. But I'm so glad I did it. I would do it again.
Yes.
And it was fun.
Yeah. I was speaking to a woman, one of my guests the other day, did the same thing. She was about to do her third jump. You like this, guys, and she found out the instructor was dead. His chute had not opened. There
Oh
you go.
no, and even his
Yeah.
backup shoe.
So yeah,
Wow.
so that was interesting. You know.
That'll that'll make you think twice.
Yeah. So wrong place, wrong time. But that's an
Yeah.
exhilarating. What made you do that, Richard? Just a personal challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like I was in that time of my life where I
Sure.
wanted to confront a fear, and I did it.
Amazing. How was it when you're up in that plane, like getting ready? You're a bit nervous, or you're sort of a bit gun ho. What was the
Well, I
experience?
was, yeah, that, I mean, the interesting thing, it's a small plane and it,
Yeah, rocking around.
shakes the windows all around so you can see, everything in front of you. I just kind of, I prayed.
Yeah,
I did breathing exercises. I did everything I needed to do
love it.
until that point where they pushed me out of the plane, and
Right.
then the first 20 feet you fall.
Yeah,
You free fall at an accelerated rate, and your mind is saying, "What the heck did you just get me into?"
yeah.
But then you kind of level out and you see the majesty of what God has created below you. I did this near the beach in Oceanside,
Wow, that'd
California,
be
and it
fantastic.
was just spectacular coming down.
How long does it take? I'm not knowing, Richard. How long does it take to get down? Oh, without a chute, pretty
Yeah.
quick, but maybe with a chute,
Yeah,
how long does it take?
the whole thing was about 12 minutes.
Yeah, pretty amazing, huh? Good on you,
Yeah.
Brent. Good on you. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up now. But guys, every man and woman's got a story. Richard's got an amazing story. Out of all my guests, he's right up there with some of the best. But if you want your 15 minutes of fame, come on the show, guys. Think about it. A TV commercial would set you back about $30,000. People are going to jump up and grab a burger. They're going to grab a beer or go to the toilet and miss the whole darn thing. 10 radio spots in your city, you're talking $5,000. They invariably play them at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when people are asleep. Come on, 15 Minutes of Fame. As I said earlier, we'll put you across all the social media channels, give you a copy of a mini movie that you can use to promote yourself and your services, and make you and get you your 15 Minutes of Fame. Once again, thanks for being on the show, Richard. You've been awesome, my friend. Blessings for you.
Thank you, Jeff, and kudos to you for doing this. I'm very grateful.
No trouble at all, but happy to help spread the message.